G'day, champion. How you doing? Welcome back to Murphy's Magic Stumped. My name, of course, is Beau, and today we have an absolutely beautiful release to talk about today. We're going to find out absolutely everything you need to know about the Pinnacle by Joel Dickinson. Now, before we get into today's episode, I do want to tell you about this week's giveaway. If you want a chance to win the Impossible Magic Bundle, stick around till later on in this episode, and I'll show you how to enter that very competition. Now, I told you we have an awesome episode for you today because we have the legend Joel Dickinson in the house today. Now, you may know Joel from his incredible releases, The Experiment and Warp Zag. Now he is here to talk about the Pinnacle. So how you doing, Joel? How you doing, buddy? Welcome.
Hey, thank you, Beau. I'm good, mate. Thank you. Yeah, really good.
Really good. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out, man. It's so good to see you and chat and talk everything the Pinnacle. So thank you again, man. And such an incredible release. When I first saw this, I was blown away. Even to this day, I'm still quite fooled by quite a bit of the magic that happens in it. So thank you for letting me experience that.
No worries. That's interesting because I was kind of wondering how people are going to react to this in like more ways than one. Like a lot of the methods here are like new methods that I've had to come up with, like, you know, like right at the end, once you've stacked all of the items on your fingertip and you place the match right on top of that matchbox, even that is like a new method, like, you know, for as far as like balancing objects and magic technique goes. So
absolutely. Yeah, and just between you and me and everyone watching now, I haven't watched the explanation for this. So I came into this interview and I wanted to get my mind destroyed more by the conversation because I've got ideas on how this will work and how it works, but I'm probably completely wrong. And I kind of want to test that with you today when we chat about it. So let's get into the first thing. And I know a lot of people want to know this. I personally want to know this as well. The history behind the Pinnacle. How did you kind of come up with the idea, the objects that you use? Can you kind of tell us a little bit more about all of that?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So a few years ago, I was driving home from the Blackpool Magic Convention, and I can't remember which year this was, but my friend, he managed to stay and watch one of the final performers, and he explained it was this lady's act, and she somehow managed, he kind of described her routine, how you know, on stage, this performer somehow built up this huge sculpture on stage in front of everybody, and the audience absolutely loved it. And as I was driving to my event, it kind of got me thinking, well, I like the idea of balancing objects. I've always kind of loved the idea of balancing items, and that's why my friend told me about the trick that I missed, you know, because he knows that I like, you know, balancing routines and things like that. So that got me thinking, what would a magician actually balance if he was performing, you know, in whatever the environment is? And just over time, I created what is now the end result of the Pinnacle.
That's wicked. I love that because, it's the objects in there are so organic too. That they make sense for if you're going to be pulling items out and getting into a balancing effect. I just love every part of that.
Yeah, man, they do. Yeah, they definitely make sense. Like nothing's kind of out of place, you know, and I agree.
That's sick. Well, I kind of want to, before we get more into this, a lot of people are going, I want to see it in action. So we're going to roll a clip of Joel performing the Pinnacle right now. So let's see that clip right now. man, that was so good. I actually still love watching that performance. Thank you so much, man.
mate.
Such a beautiful piece of magic. Now, we're here to find out everything about the Pinnacle, but like obviously the methods and the secrets behind it. But we do want to cover what will you get in the box. So when the mailman arrives, he hands you that beautiful package and you rip it open and inside is the Pinnacle. What are people going to expect to find inside the box?
Everything.
Hey!
Everything your dreams can conjure up. No, on a serious note, basically, everything that you receive is handmade. I've made everything myself. But I also teach you how to make different elements. You know, like there's one specific element in there which over time with use may become a little bit fractured, a little bit damaged. But to be honest, probably won't. But I teach you how to basically make like a brand new one. And, you know, like the basic like main gimmick that I've created, especially the bit that works with a packet of playing cards, you can actually use this gimmick on any deck design that you like. It does come with like slight limitations if you want to put it into a different packet of playing cards. But to be honest, those limitations are absolute minuscule. You can put it into any deck design, but it is predominantly made for a red packet of bicycle cards. But you also get, you know, the specially made highlighter pen to balance everything on. You just receive everything, you know, to perform this.
That's cool, because then there's not anything like you're going to have to... One thing I hate, well, I don't hate it, I love building gimmicks, but I know a lot of people aren't accustomed to when they receive something and then they're going to have to go out and build everything. Like you said, you've built everything ready to go.
Yeah, everything... Yes, sorry, man. Yeah, it's like the moment you get it, you can, just grab a pack of your cards and you can perform it.
It goes straight to town.
I even made, and I wanted to cover this, right? So I even made some like prop matches. They look like real matches, right?
That's cool.
But obviously you can't ship matches in the post. I was trying to think, how can I get these worldwide? So instead of just actually shipping matches and hope that they get to you guys, I had to like basically completely rebuild and remake matches. It might not sound like much, but honestly, when you're like sat making these, they take hours. You know, but yeah, so you'll even get the match to, you know, to perform this with.
A custom built match. That's a really cool
built match.
I love that, because that, like you said, that doesn't happen. Like normally people have to we can't ship a match. Here, I'll teach you how to build it. The fact that you've gone to that attention and that detail to build a match for everyone, that's insane.
Well, that's it. But then I realized in other countries, matches are going to be different. So what I actually do is teach you how to make the gimmick as well. So you can just use your own matches, you know, so it actually makes sense in whichever country you're in.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah. I love that. Now, you talked a little bit about if something were to kind of, I guess, like break or get damaged over time, what are like the longevity like of the whole props themselves? Are people going to expecting breakage and, you know, the wear and tear on your gimmicks? Like how many performances? You know,
oh man, like yeah. Well, honestly, like my set that I use personally, I have never replaced. Like I've been using the same one for a really long time, probably like a year. You know, like using this same the prototype really that I came up with, I'm still using. So, but with regards to the actual units that people are buying, I've even made like certain parts of it with like durable glue rather than like a solid glue, you know, so it's just going to last, you know. Yeah, it should last a really, really long time. You shouldn't be looking at like having to replace anything, but even if you do have to eventually replace something, you'll figure it out how to kind of make stuff easily enough. And I think that's like one of the beauties of this effect, like because everything is like a natural everyday object, you can actually get hold of the stuff as well without having to, you know, dig a little bit too deep and go on like a, I don't know, Chinese Amazon and try and find something totally random. You can like pretty much kind of customize it yourself eventually if you want to and just piece it back together so it might suit you a little bit more. But I have checked it out with, you know, like performers all over the place. You know, David Jonathan, I said, can you just have a look at this? And he was like, you know, I would absolutely use that. There's no, you I've just sent it to like lots of friends in different countries and, even relatives in Australia. And they've said to me like, that there's nothing out of place about that. Like it looks great.
That's great. So, well, like you said, like also people should be taking care of their props. Like there's so many little pieces in here, like a custom built match. So don't be throwing this like down the stairs and stuff. Treat your props with respect, put it in a case, and it'll last you for decades.
Yeah, it comes with like a little mini kind of like plastic case anyway that you can put everything in, In fact, like the whole trick fits in one. To be honest, Paul, like looking at your shirt pocket, you could fit the whole thing in that.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, that's literally one pocket space and you can literally carry a whole show on you and have that ready to go.
Yeah,
it's so good. Yeah. It just makes so much sense. I love that so much. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about this. People are going to be asking, shut up, boys. I don't want to hear anything else from you. I want to go pick it up right now. Well, good news. It's available worldwide at your favorite magic shop for $99.95. And you need a skill level of a beginner magician to perform it. And if you're also looking, there'll be a link in the description below where you can go pick it up. Now, I do want to talk about the skill level a little bit. Beginner, very basic, easy to do.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Oh man, honestly, like so easy. I would say but the more you do rehearse it and practice it, better it's going to look, but that is, I guess, one really nice thing about this is if you like the effect and the effect is for you, if you just put that little bit of effort to kind of, make it look really, really smooth, natural. I also provide like a variety of different handlings and methods and even like presentational styles, to like begin in the way that you balance the pen. Like as an example, you can balance the pen on your finger and rest it on a packet of playing cards and then blow the box over, that falls over. Or you can place it on with your finger and people have asked questions like, do you need a table for this? But you don't. You can, and maybe that's one thing I should have done in the trailer rather than having a table there. Maybe I should have actually just stood and took everything out of my pocket and then put it back in my pocket again, But yeah, you don't need a table for it. You just need the props.
You.
Yeah.
That's it. So it starts at a beginner. You teach the props themselves are very easy to use. And then it goes up with the skill level of ways you want to perform this and the routines you want to add it to and the scripting. So you literally the sky's the limit on how crazy you want to get with this. I love the idea of like pulling it out of the pocket. Like that's a really cool, doing that at walk around gigs, just taking something out and just getting straight into it. You mentioned a little bit about the tutorial. The tutorial itself, is it shot right where you are now? Is it shot in a basement? Is it shot, at the top of the Shard in London? Can you tell us a little bit about the tutorial and how's it look? People were to watch
the tutorial is actually set in this room, but the room's been set up a little bit differently. My cameras are right back over there. This is like a little studio room. I'm just on my Mac at the moment, but I've got like a variety of cameras and stuff that I use. So yeah, man, it's all like filmed in HD, and yeah, just in this room. This is where I spend like all of my time creating magic tricks, really. It kind of reminds me of Craig Petty. He released that project where it was in a room with a pack of cards or something, or coins or something. It's like I just spend my time in like a room thinking about magic tricks when I get into certain routines or whatever. I just spend a lot of my time here,
Mate, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm literally 7 days a week in this room. I've literally got my cutting mat just down here. Whoop, I'm almost knocked it over. I've got my cutting mat, my scalpels and my knives and rulers ready to go whenever I want to make gimmicks. I got a big desk. Oh, mate, I'm the same. I have film here and then make down here. It's such a good time. So I know exactly what you're talking about, and I love it. Oh, look at these absolute champions. You guys are the best. It's true. I've Googled it. Do you mind if I interrupt for just a tiny wee second? I'm loving this episode so much, but I need to interrupt for just a wee second. I'm so sorry because I want to do a giveaway for this absolute legend. But before we get into today's giveaway, we need to find out who won last episode's bundle. So congratulations, champion. You're the winner of last episode's giveaway. So if you could DM me on any of Murphy's socials, I'll get that prize straight out for you. Now on to today's episode. If you want a chance to win the Impossible Magic Bundle, all you need to do is comment in the comment section below. What items would you balance on top of each other if you could balance any item? Would it be a deck of cards and matches as well? Or your favorite flavor of Tic Tacs and the candy that your mother got when she's on a holiday in Sweden? Whatever it is, let me know below. Then on next episode Stumped, I'll draw a name out at random and you'll be announced on that episode. So my friend, good luck. Also, if you haven't checked out last week's episode of Stumped, make sure you do. Card on screen right now. It's where I go over absolutely everything you need to know about this incredible piece of magic. Well, that's good because it's like, that's what people want to see. They want to have a crystal clear tutorial when they're going to watch it at home. And a lot of close-ups of the footage itself and what's happening is, like you said, it's a professionally, you have like a studio, everything's crystal clear and easy to understand, which is perfect. Now,
that's it.
You talked a little bit about what you got to teach how to, like, I guess if you need to build a new match. What else are people going to learn on the tutorial? We just mentioned a little bit about routines. What else are people going to expect when, like, how long does the tutorial normally go for? Like you mentioned, Craig Petty, are we here for 9 hours learning the Pinnacle?
Yeah. So the tutorial's around about 40 minutes in total. You learn, well, basically just everything, like the whole, I walk you through the entire routine from, introducing the objects, and then I present how you can, present this in different ways, teach you how to stack up the objects, and just share a different variety of like ideas, if you like, to kind of get your mind rolling. But it's one of them, I think, where maybe, this effect might possibly kind of steer it. So I'm looking forward to seeing like how people present this, right? So when I first showed this to Wayne Dobson, this was probably around about a year ago, he had a really cool idea. I used to like balance this up, right? And instead of putting a matchbox and then a match on top of the card, I used to place a ball on it. Mm-hmm. And this ball would roll around on the card and I would follow it around like this, and it looked really, really cool, whatever, But that this is when it was in its like development stage. And an idea that Wayne Dobson had, and you could still do now, is get a little hole punch and punch the end of the card, right? Mm-hmm. And what you could do is take a candle and put that into the, like a birthday candle, mm-hmm. and light it.
That's cool.
And every time I've showed this routine to somebody, they've always kind of said, oh, well, what I would like to do at the end is this, Yeah. And I think that's where it kind of like leans its hand a little bit, that it, you can put your own kind of performing spin on it,
I absolutely love that.
I don't even think I answered your question, did I? I just kind of went from one question.
Well, no, that was perfect because that's what I was going to say. You're teaching everyone on the tutorial itself the basics of the principle of how the effect works, how the gimmicks work, and then how to do some routines, because a lot of people want routines ready to go in their back pocket, but you're giving them that staple that they can now build and create their own routines. They know how it works, what to do, that they can go out and, like you said, add candles to it. They can take it out, put it in their pocket. And 40 minutes is a perfect limit for like a tutorial, that now their mind's probably racing of what they can do. And I'm kind of excited to see what people do with the Pinnacle and add their own spin onto it. So it's going to be sick.
Yeah,
I love that. I want to see the ball.
Yeah. I should try and get a little bit of footage of that.
Sick.
Yeah. I think like the one thing about this as well is like the environments that you can perform it in. Mm-hmm. I would like predominantly kind of use this in a show, but you can absolutely, and I have performed this, like, don't get me wrong, like I performed it at tables, I performed it in like small parlor style settings, the Vanishing Cabaret, where we've had like, audiences that are just completely focused, and we need to go out and perform like a real big wow moment, but even like social media, like Jack Rhodes does his performance of this, and it just, the whole routine, like people say to me, I don't see how, and this is people who don't perform this, but they often question, like, can I really perform that like up close but you can. You absolutely can. You will need to manage like people who are behind you a little bit, but that's the same with like pretty much any trick, and you're not really performing for them anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because they're just looking over like this to see how something works, and that's like the same with a lot of tricks anyway, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like people who are here, like, and their view is to see this. Like the way I treat performing anyway is that my body and my frame is the backdrop to what's actually happening here. So anybody who's watching from directions, they're not going to see anything that they shouldn't, or there's nothing really with this effect to worry about in that regard, except for one tiny little thing. But I even share exactly how to completely cover that. In fact, with a little bit of creative thinking, you could perform this completely surrounded. It's not something that I've tackled myself yet. But, it's when you receive what you need to do, you'll see that there are actually ways to do that.
Yeah, and adapted to your own scenario you're in.
Yeah, exactly. And what I like to do when I share releases, I don't perform this completely surrounded anyway. So I don't want to share something that I don't do, because to me it just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying you can perform this completely surrounded, but if you put your mind to it for 10 minutes, you probably could,
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of leads me on to another question I know people are going to be asking now, because I'm thinking it in my head. The examinability, I know a lot of magicians want that if you're performing this at close up at tables, are you going to have people wanting to snatch the gimmicks, and how examinable are the props themselves?
Yeah. Okay, so like with regards to how examinable the props are, look at it like once you finish performing this within around about between 5 and 10 seconds of talking to your spectators, you can, am I okay to say this, but you can remove the actual pieces very, very easily. And there's only like, there are 2 things to switch, but one of them happens right in front of them, and it's, well, the size of a matchstick. And the other thing, I mean, that doesn't even really need swapping, but, like I share how to switch out the 2 pieces effortlessly, but you're not really switching the pieces out. You're taking things away.
Yes.
And you combine that with swapping one single item, and you are left completely clean. And the swap is just really, really natural anyway. Like you would only be putting one of the items in your pocket and then bringing it back out, but it's all justified within the routine anyway. So there's no like, you like, what I wanted to do was create the illusion to the people who are watching that everything has just been balanced and then placed on the table. You could blow everything off your finger so it collapses, and then clean it up whilst you're talking within just a couple of seconds, 5 seconds. And that's basically it, Yeah, it's like that what I wanted to achieve has been achieved, like with minimum effort,
Yes. Well, that's the one thing I love about that. It doesn't need a table. Like going to your pocket to ditch something or switch it out, like you can, it makes sense that you haven't got a table to put that object down on. You've only got 2 hands. One's already getting taken up, balancing something. So as you go to take something away to grab something else, everything makes sense for those movements you're about to do.
I like that. And, I've never really thought of it the way that you've just put it, of removing the items and putting them back in your pocket means nothing's going to be examined anyway.
Yeah.
But it can be with that little tiny bit of extra work if you're using a table.
Yeah.
But why have something examined anyway? Like, honestly, like over my years of performing close up, you know what I'm going to say anyway.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
What I'm going to say. I don't even need to say it. Like, there are people who will grab stuff every now and then, and that's their curiosity. But with this, you don't really have to worry about people grabbing stuff. But maybe if you are the kind of performer when you're performing and people are grabbing your props, maybe just try and figure out something away from the props. And I'm not talking about the Pinnacle right now. I'm talking about like keeping people off your props anyway, Like even if things are examinable, it's nice to go check this out, have a look. you know. But at the end of the day, but then again, if you're in more of a social environment and you're just like with your friends and stuff, you know, who aren't magicians, and you might want to show them something, or they ask you to do a trick, then you can clean this up within, like the Pinnacle, within a couple of seconds. But, you know, then you might want to be kind of introducing the ability for the participants to check stuff out and hold on to them. Of course, it does make sense, but in a professional environment, you don't want people's hands on your stuff, really, do you? You want to kind of perform stuff where you move on anyway.
Exactly.
You know?
Well, that's what I mean. It's good to know for magicians that, again, know the examinability so they can adapt it for the scenario that they're in. Because a lot of magicians out there are going, hey, I'm a walk around corporate magician that does table hopping. Is this going to work if someone tries to examine my props? And if you're a parlor magician, you know, kind of already that you're sweet, you're good to go. So a lot of magicians, that helped out with a lot of people watching right now with that information. It's good.
Yeah. So here's what I would say then. For people who are performing like walk around weddings, you can 100% perform it. If you don't want to put in the extra work yourself and figure out how to do it completely surrounded, then, you know, you're going to have to perform it for the people that are not directly behind you. That's kind of that, right? But if you just put in that extra 5 to 10 seconds of cleaning this up, which goes completely unnoticed, nothing at all appears to be switched, then this trick is for you. And the reset, you are literally looking at seconds, just goes back in your pocket and you reset.
Yeah, that's sick.
What I'm trying to do is give like real, honest, real world, because I'm in the real world of performing, you know. And I don't want people to watch this thinking that I'm just trying to make this sound like you can head out and you can and then when you pick it up, you go, oh, I can't. You know, we don't want your money for that. I want you to be able to go out and perform it, you know, if it is for you. But I think with this piece, it's one of those where you're doing your last table. And when you do something really big at a table and everybody's freaking out, going, wow. And then before you know it, everybody's watching. This really does get that like reaction. I work with a friend who I was talking about before, my best friend, Jay Rollins, right? He's a juggling magician, right? He does contact juggling. Mm-hmm. And when we go to perform at events, I will always say to Jay, just get your contact balls out for 10 minutes and walk around, 5 minutes. And he'll walk around the event just manipulating these crystal balls. They're going everywhere. They look absolutely brilliant. And for anybody who didn't see me or Jay at that event, have now seen us, you know, so we can go. And the only thing that me and Jay have said match that level of impressionability and something that is so visual, and this is why I mentioned it on the trailer, that there isn't anything in magic that I have genuinely seen that has such a big impact at an event other than contact juggling. Obviously, floating things is amazing, but this is one of those things where you're stacking something up on your fingertip. You can look at it, you can walk around and let people see these items and then take them off. And that is... it's got this big impact in the same way that manipulating these crystal balls that my friend Jay does, you know, it's like I've now finally, after 20 years of performing, finally have this routine that Jay can now say to me, Joel, go out and just do the Pinnacle, you know?
Yeah. Well, actually, that's one thing I was just imagining in my head at a wedding. And it's one of those, like you said, those pieces of magic that like talks without even hearing what you're saying. You're on the other side of the room, you're looking across and you're seeing you balancing all these objects. You immediately know what's going on. And that just that visual from across the room of what your spectators that aren't involved at that table, what they're going to see is going to fry their minds. They're going to be like you said, probably running over, going, what is happening here? So
definitely, yeah.
Such a
and
cool
it's quite
idea.
Colourful as well, like as it goes up. It's quite, you know, you got like this pen, which is like quite bright, then a packet of cards, which is nice and shiny. Then you've got a playing card on top, then the box, and then the match. And it does come up quite high. That's like the cool thing about it. It is like, you know, it comes up off your finger. Yeah. Like you can balance it in like I also teach like a different variety of ways of how to balance it on your fingertip. So you can like hold your fingertip out and have the pen like resting on your finger, you know, like this. Mm-hmm. That's like one technique that I share on the tutorial. And there's like like the comfortability level of balancing this, I guess almost there's one way that I teach that I always use because it's just the easiest way to do it. And it's so easy. And it's like the tutorial, the performance, that's the exact technique that I use when I'm performing this, you know?
Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah. So it's just like, to be honest, it's an easy trick. Like, I just feel like I'm waffling a whole ton of rubbish. I don't want people to think that I'm trying to sell it. I want to give you like information about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we want people that are watching and now well informed about the effect and know if it's going to work for them in their performances. I'm a very situational magician. I love having props sit about that make sense for where they are. I'm already thinking about the same thing, having these in like a drawer in my kitchen or something, or like in the lounge room of having like all these. We have like a little bowl of like, knick-knack things that my wife has. So having like them sit around near there. So when friends come over, just like you're sitting on the couch and just sitting back waiting, and like while you're watching a movie or something, and just start balancing things, and they're like, "What are you doing right now?" I'm like, "I don't know. This episode of Desperate Housewives isn't connecting with me." I was gonna just those really cool moments.
I do like the idea of like turning up to a wedding or something and dressing up like a real cheesy magician with a top hat and just balancing this impossible thing on you with a cigar in your mouth or something, and just having this like amazing balance, and it's effortless to you, and off you go.
I love that. I can't wait. I need to see that footage. If you're going to do that, make that happen. That's sick. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I think you've kind of covered all the questions. And if anyone is watching at home right now and has more questions, please throw them down in the comment section below. I know Joel will be checking out everything that you guys write. So if you've got any questions, he'll be happy to answer them all, and I'll do my best as well. But Joel, do you have anything else, any final thoughts, ideas, or anything you want to mention to anyone watching thus far?
Yeah, I think you've kind of covered it. If anybody has any questions, like just drop them in, and I will be like obviously completely honest, like if it's going to work for you, if it isn't. But for me, I just really, really love this like routine. It's just been, it's been like in the works for a very long time. And I don't think there's anything else specifically other than just thank you very much for having me on. And I hope I've covered enough stuff,
Mate, to be honest, you've grown my curiosity about this so much. Like I thought I knew how this worked, and discussing with you this, you've already cancelled out my methods in my head. So I need to go buy this down and check it out.
Why don't you tell me how you think it works? You can beep that out, put a blur on your mouth, and I'll tell you if you're right or wrong.
Okay. I thought there was a bunch of...
No.
Damn it.
That's not how it works. But that's a cool idea.
I was like, because I know there's some other different methods that kind of use something similar. I was like, is this the method? It has to be, but it is obviously not. Now you've destroyed me.
No, it's not how it works. But what you've just said is an interesting idea and could well kind of work amongst a new kind of balancing concept. So that's really good. That's something you should look at.
Yeah, that's what I'll do, release my own version now. But no, man, I think yours is better because there was issues I was worried about with my method. And then when you answered that question about the performance and the angles, that's when you kind of like canceled that out for me.
Okay, I tell you what, right? So you gave me your idea, right? Why don't we set a challenge? I don't know what your diary's like, but in 1 week's time, we have to use the concept that you just created to make something else.
Okay.
Yeah? And see what we come up with. And we can perform it and film it and send it to each other and even share it on this or share it on another video, I
love that. All right. I've got a lot of content to shoot this next week, but I'm going to have a play this weekend. I like the idea of this.
So why don't we go in 2 weeks' time? Yeah, let's do it in 2 weeks.
Done.
So we've got 2 weeks to wrap our head around an idea, and we'll challenge. Not a challenge to see who wins, but let's see what we come up with.
Push our creative minds.
Because that's a cool idea.
I like
what you've just said. Yeah, I've got an idea for it already.
Man, I meant to shoot a video after this. I know I'm not going to be able to do it now. I'm going to be like, stop that. Just call up the boss. Sorry, I need to work on this. This has got my creative juices flowing. I love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, my pleasure, mate. And thank you, everyone, again, who's tuning in. If you want to see the Pinnacle and pick it up again, or know more information, want to see, the ad copy, the trailer, all that kind of good stuff, I'll have a link to a magic shop in the description below. And again, you can pick it up for $99.95 and a skill level of a beginner magician to perform it. And then the world is your oyster. Go crazy and go wild in performing this. So again, thank you so much, Joel. I really appreciate you coming out, man. And enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.
I'll be in touch about this video. I can't wait.
Yeah, me too.
See you later, mate. Bye.
See you later, mate. Bye.
Bye. Whoa, hey, whoa, what's that? Oh, you should definitely check out that. Oh, there's so much good magic in there. You won't regret it. Hey, whoa, hey, look at this bad boy. You should definitely subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribe, then watch that. Oh, it's a good day to treat yourself.